Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. I didn't think a yield sign was appropriate because that means you're going somewhere. The market really didn't go anywhere today.
Right, it didn't. Actually, I'm blaming all the credible and incredible terrorist threats and stupid stuff like a British woman was drunk on the airplane, on the British Airways plane, and they made a big deal out of it. But then I guess the two games that were canceled and postponed, that's when we started losing it. I don't know if you
Yeah.
were watching the market. As soon as they announced that, it was just falling out of the. So I think we're going to be in one of these extremely news sensitive markets where anybody breathes terrorism, it's gonna we're gonna see a you know several dollar drop, $100.
Which is actually a very dangerous time to trade because you
I
could I mean
definitely
clearly you could never anticipate unexpected news, but when there's something like this going on in the background, um, you really need to be on top of your discipline.
I agree, and I think a lot of it is also too. I think sometimes the news organizations are looking for news to get everybody to turn on their channel, so they're jumping on every single little item that they can. So we shall see. I mean, some things. Look at Netflix. That held up like a champ.
Held up
Close
and
over
actually
117.
blew through the first level. We were looking at 118 this morning as the first
Yeah.
level up here, and just absolutely decimated it.
No. Yeah, that's where it got to 118.
Yep, 118, almost 118.75.
Yeah, I told everybody I was getting out up there, so I hope everybody else did too.
It was the right target with all
Yeah.
things considered, but also I think you have to factor in the fact that that's now 16, almost $17 in 2 days. That's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
price
I
movement.
agree. I said, is it going to go up more? It could, but it'll have to go without me or wait for tomorrow because I'm taking my money.
Oh, I love that wording. So financials not participating at all today. I think that was something big that
Yeah,
everybody
I
was
agree.
looking to see. They made an attempt midday to get above the opening price, but I think it's clear this market's not going anywhere without them. The retail is holding us back story clearly dispelled that myth today. With some of the, I know Walmart's not necessarily retail, but there was buying across the board over here today. So I think that the market. Somebody had asked me on Facebook today, and I stand firm that I don't think we're going to break out of this trading range for the rest of the year, and especially in the SPY. I think we're going to stay in this little 8 to 10 point range, and you're going to have to really be stock specific for the rest of the year.
Right, right. I agree with you.
I mean, I can't see any reason for us to get out of it. Can you? Unless, God forbid, something dramatic happens.
Oh, totally. I agree with you. I actually think that we could even trade in a tighter range for a while. I think there, I mean, your opening page said it all, indecision. Indecision and no participation. Well, how can we go anywhere?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So I guess we'll get into the beginning of the PowerPoint here just to give everybody some context of obviously indecisive means that we didn't pick a direction today. We didn't, but I kind of put this on the top here as the truth. I mean, the Bulls lost today. The Bulls had every reason in the world to follow through today. It wasn't like we had exhaustive type volume yesterday on a really good day to the upside, and we should have had some ammunition left to push higher today and didn't. So I kind of feel like that was a losing day for the Bulls. Regardless of what other reasons we might not have followed through today, that was a loss for the Bulls as far as I'm concerned today.
Right, right. I agree. I mean, I'm actually surprised we even closed positive, even if we just eked out a couple of dollars.
Yeah, yeah. So this is kind of giving context to anybody who might be listening to this who wasn't really in the market yesterday to get a feel for it. But it was an extremely strong day today, all around. Yesterday, all around, and we had every reason to look for follow through today. And this is what we had. I mean, we're above the opening price the entire day yesterday. Closed strong, did over 100 million shares. So it was a lot of reason to look to belong today. But I gave a little bit of a warning this morning. It's impressive, but it was only one day. and made it clear day traders need to be aware we need to stay above yesterday's high to maintain conviction. And what I mean by maintain conviction, essentially that there's new buying. If we trade above yesterday's high and come right back in, there's nobody supporting the prices from yesterday. And we kind of saw that right away. I mean, here's the overall market. You can see it's a mess. Nothing clear on the green side, nothing clear on the red side. And here we are, which basically translates into a tough day where you're above and below the opening price all day. You can't really lean into a long. You can't really lean into a short from a market perspective. But there were some individual stocks like Netflix, which we had just covered, which to me was the bell of the ball today. It doesn't matter what did in the afternoon. I mean, there was plenty to do in that stock this morning, whether you were timing it off the 5, the 10, the 15, it didn't matter. There was something to do in there today.
Right, exactly.
So financials did not participate. We had some Home Depot and Lowe's activity this morning, but we had a call out this morning. Somebody was talking about getting long Lowe's right out of the gate this morning, or what do we think of it off of the Home Depot news? And we recommended not doing it because you can clearly see the resistance here at 74. And hopefully the person in the room did not take that trade because it just really wasn't along at all. There was overhead resistance from the last 2 weeks and also going back to August. There was no reason to be there until it got through 74 and actually held. So Home Depot got up to that resistance and closed near the highs again, which I thought was kind of impressive.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, closed near the highs. Yeah, it held up. They had impressive earnings, though, I'll have to say. They were, what did Lowe's end up doing? I didn't watch that at the end of the day.
Closed near the lows.
Oh, well,
Actually,
yeah,
almost back to the 20-period moving average on the daily.
wow, it really gave it up.
If you look at the stock for a while, we've kind of been commenting. It's got a lot of wicks. It hasn't had a trend. It stays in these ranges. This has been very similar to American Express, where it's very difficult to day trade and there's no obvious order flow. American Express, a couple of days to the downside, but look at these daily candles. It's just not showing institutional participation. Where from one day to the next, there's a conviction to want to be short in this case. So you got to be really careful, or I shouldn't say careful. You have to be diligent in figuring out which stocks you're going to be involved in.
Yeah, I think diligent is the word because you have to really, really pick them apart really cleanly because it's a tough market to trade in. So if you're not going to do your homework, don't trade.
We had a couple of stocks that we were looking for breakouts today. Qualcomm, you can see continues to consolidate, and actually we thought we had it this morning where it was going to get a nice uptrend out of this about 2-week consolidation. Had a good morning, but just this flag here, when this failed and the rest of the market came in, the trade kind of played itself out and there wasn't anything to do. If you got long here, you probably took a flat or a small loss up there. But as it keeps consolidating, you still have to keep it on the list. Very similar to VMW. You can see now roughly almost a month, actually, that it still hasn't broke out. You got to get it in the list, but it's been frustrating because there hasn't been from like one day to the next for a couple of days in a row. And I think that's what's driving a lot of traders a little crazy. And I think Apple here is a good example of that. Gap down lower, trade higher, trade lower. Difficult to put on a trade without turning your head feeling like you're going to miss something.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many do not touch trades.
Yep. And look, we joke around about being a broken record in the room, but we'd rather see everybody conserve capital until great opportunities are available than call out trades that really aren't there just because everybody's in the room together. I think it's just prudent trading right now to be very picky, conserve your capital until great ideas, only risk whatever is acceptable to you to risk on individual trades. And if there's not a lot to do, like actually somebody had asked us today, how many trades did you place today at like 11 o'clock? And there really wasn't that much to do.
Right. I think I only had traded Netflix.
Yeah. There wasn't that much to do. Maybe a couple of stocks we could have looked on the short side, but they certainly didn't follow through with any kind of gusto. So, if anybody listening to this right now is struggling a little bit or it's a little challenging, I'm not going to say by any stretch of the imagination that this is a market where you just got to find the right stock and you'll trade it. You have to really work hard to put a good list together of stocks that have obvious order flow and have room to go. And if the market's a little bit slower, I can't stress it enough. You just have to be okay with trading a little bit less, if not at all, because the bell ringing doesn't mean you have to trade. It means that the market's open and you have opportunity to look for stuff. So just be okay with being conservative in this market until we, until volume is good. Maybe the same sector is looking good. Like actually, this sector, UA, Nike, Netflix, they looked a little better in the morning to actually put some trades on, but they didn't follow through. So it's like that old joke when you get, somebody breaks up with you, it's not you, it's me.
Right, right.
The market's a little bit challenging right now. I'm sure you're going to go read on Facebook. There's 800 people going to claim that they're printing money in this market. There's money to make, but it's not a tape right now where it's like, oh my gosh, I wish I had more buying power. And I'm
No,
not even
exactly.
like over trading myself. It's not like you can give some kind of like colored version of like somebody who got beat up in the market and they're just saying that. That's not the case at all. I'm just trying to help everybody make sure that they recognize what's on the tape. And if you have a good strategy, it's probably not the fact that you're seeing things wrong. It's just a little bit tougher tape right now. And with good reason. There's a lot going on. you know, good earnings,
Exactly.
bad earnings, interest rate scare in the background, for like a better way of putting it, and obviously terrorist stuff. So there's a lot going on. So you put together a good plan. Join us in the room. If there's something to do, we will absolutely be all over it. Wearing out the letters on the keyboard, I think, in the morning, trying to find the right stuff. But look, when it's there, we're all over it, and there's plenty to do. Right now, we're in capital preservation mode, so I hope everybody else is too.
Yep, exactly.
Anything to finish the meeting up on?
No, not really.
Yeah, I was. It's funny because like I work to find stuff to make, but like I don't want to overemphasize something as like make it like into a news story when there really wasn't a tremendous amount to do other than Netflix long today. Again,
Exactly.
financials kind of wimped out. So I think that's it. I think we're good for today.
I do too.
Okay. Have a
All
great
right.
afternoon.
You too, and I'll see you in the morning.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye bye.